Hello, folks. This week's guest is Conor Moore, aka Conor Sketches. I've known this guy for 4 years and he is an absolute gent of the highest order, and he's also unbelievably talented. We spoke about how he started doing impressions in his hometown in Mullingar, the Hollywood of Ireland, I like to call it. How he started doing impressions of Loughnane, Brawley, Davy Fitz, Bernard Brogan, Jim Gavin, all the GAA characters, and eventually moving into doing the Premier League characters and working for Joe.ie, doing some incredible work for Joe.ie and Joe.co.uk. And then 2018 comes along and he makes the Masters video, which is just incredible. And he rules the golf circuit. He becomes the golf impressionist. Makes that video, 6 months later, he's making a commercial for Bridgestone with Tiger Woods. It's an incredible story, guys, and he has some amazing stories, some hilarious stories as well in the podcast. I'm a big fan of Conor. He's a great pal of mine. We're both impressionists as well, so we talk about the art of being an impressionist, the work that goes into learning an impression too, which I hope people will find interesting. But yeah, it was just a great chat. I enjoyed it so much, and I hope you all enjoy it too, guys, and have a good weekend. This is the Impressionable Hour with Al Foran, episode 5, Conor Moore. Conor Moore, how are you, pal?
I'm doing well, pal. How are you? What's the crack?
I'm good. All the way from Orlando, Florida.
I know, yeah, it doesn't look too glamorous here at the minute now. I'm locked away in this apartment for the last couple of weeks, but yeah, in Orlando for the foreseeable, the next couple of months anyway. Well, next couple of weeks anyway. Well, mad to get home at some point. Listen,
I know, yeah. Look, there's not much going on over here as well.
Yeah, that's what nearly. Like, I'm definitely a home bird, but I'm not homesick because I know I'd be just locked in a room in my apartment in Dublin or whatever if I was back in Dublin. So
absolutely. And would you be close to a golf course in Dublin? I know you're. Because they've just opened since yesterday.
In Mullingar, member of Mullingar Golf Club. So I'm within the 5K of Mullingar. And then I was only thinking because my girlfriend lives in Chappa Lizard. So that's where the apartment would be. But I think Castleknock or something is beside there.
Castleknock, yeah.
There's a couple of golf courses around there, yeah. So I might have to go in and apply for membership.
It'd be close enough. I know Rory Stories has been salivating for golf courses to open. He's been putting up videos all week about it.
I know, I've seen his video. I actually saw that video myself the other day. I was like, I actually didn't, not that I thought of doing it, but I was going to put it on my Instagram, just like I was out playing golf. I was so mad to play golf. Didn't play it in weeks and played last week. And after about 6 holes, I was like, why was I mad to play this? I'm a guy. I was like, so I'm there. I'm playing along and I'm hitting these bad shots. I'm like, now I remember why I don't like the game in a way. But even though then the next day you're mad to play again, golf is the weirdest game that gives you just such punishment. Like if you took that punishment playing Gaelic or soccer, you just stop playing. You'd be like, it's too hard. It's too, mentally it's just not. But golf you can hit one good shot in a golf round. I know that's the old saying about golf. One good shot brings you back the next day.
Mm. It does. I've only played golf. Jesus, I could on my hand I can name me 4 or 5 times I've played golf. But like that, I've hit a few good shots, and you kind of do get that itch. You're kind of, oh Jesus, yeah, I do like this game. I'm absolutely awful. Like I'm one of these players who, give me the pitching wedge or the sand wedge on the fairway, and I'll just lock it up. I can't use any of the irons. I can't drive for shit. I suppose driving, there's another element to the game in driving, isn't there?
Yeah,
it's separate from everything.
Yeah, I'm getting all right at it now. I was going to put out on Instagram today about getting a good coach down here because I definitely want to go home and be a bit better at it because I got better and better, and now I'm like just hit a plateau or something. I'm like, I need to get if I got down to single figures, I'd be just delighted with that. I just and a handicap. That's the dream.
Yeah. But listen, you're from I like to call it the Hollywood of Ireland, Mullingar, home to so many stars: Niall Horan, Brezzy, Joe Dolan,
and Conor Moore, and just it's a town full of unbelievable talent, and with it, you have an avid GAA background with the Mullingar Shamrocks as well.
Yeah.
And I think this is the playing in one of the GAA matches was how Conor's sketches kind of started, wasn't it? It was.
I was working. Well, I did finance in college or whatever. So, and I was I was out in America for a couple of years in New York, and then I came home and I was in finance, and it was I just found it so boring, kind of like it was one of those jobs where you just you didn't have to think much. You were on the computer, you had a job to do, and I was like, I want to do something else. So I went into sales, and sales is a tough gig. Like, it's character building, you know.
Yeah,
like
of course.
First, I was knocking on doors, then I was doing the cold calling, but I actually enjoyed it in 3. But so I was down in Mullingar then when they were playing a football match, and a row broke out in the match. My club, Mullingar Shamrocks, were playing where my mother's from, the Downs.
Okay.
They're called the Downs GA club. So it ended up, a row took place, and there was a few of us involved in this argument, and there was pictures in the back of the newspaper. And these pictures are less than flattering, man. It's like I'm just like, you want to see it? And then there was all kind of handbags or whatever. But a few days later, anyway, the secretary's on the phone to me, and I'm like, "Is that going to happen with that?" He goes, "No. His club's getting a fine or whatever, 500 or 600 quid or whatever, you know."
Yeah.
And I was laughing then, you know, the boys were all sending these photographs. They were photoshopping me into everything, and like hooligan lists at the Euros and all. And anyway, I ended up, Snapchat was after coming out with this feature of face swapping.
Yes.
This was like around the time then, after I did this, I then saw you.
Yeah.
Because I actually, I don't even know at the time what I've been, I was never massive on Facebook, but following things around like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I do this Snapchat video, and it's me doing Brawley and all them talking about this fight. And I send it to the boys. Now, it's terrible. But I know from listening to one of your interviews as well, where you were saying, when you look back at your old stuff, you're like, isn't it awful? But people loved it. People were like, that's brilliant. So I was like looking at it going, I did it. And at the time thought it was good. Sent it to the boys. I was like, wait. And the boys were writing to me, they're like, Jesus, that's brilliant. That's you can do all that. I was like, yeah. You know, so anyway, the boys said, put it online. I was like, but sure, who's going to give a shite like about an argument to Mullingar? And it just got me thinking. I remember lying in bed that night, and I was like, if I did something on the championship tomorrow, that could actually, maybe that could go kind of viral. So I put out this video the next day called Off the Ball with Colin Parkinson.
Yeah.
For Joe.
I remember it.
Yeah. And Davey Fitz and all the boys put it out anyway, and the yoke got like 60,000 views. I thought I was famous. I was like, walking oh, that fellow was looking at me. He looked at me as well. And that then, I remember I got a call off Paddy McKenna or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, come up here, I want to have a let's see, you know, and they were like, yeah, you're an impersonator, you know, you're good and blah, blah, blah. And then when I went up, I met him and Niall Gary, and the boys were like, let's what other stuff, like let's see your, you know, your repertoire of stuff. And I was like, well, that's all I have. That video right there, that's pretty much the whole thing. They were like, oh, so you're not an impressionist. I was like, well, no, I am, but like I kind of wasn't, I suppose, you know.
Well, you'd always, I think I remember you telling me that you'd always do impressions in front of your mates. You'd always do, like, it'd be a party piece for you.
Young. Yeah, when I was really young, I did. But for years, I didn't do it then. It was après match. Probably like, you're probably the same. I watching après match.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
In this country, yeah. And I remember watching après match. I remember when I was about 8 or 9, I remember getting the gift grub on the iPod. Thing. I remember getting the gift grub one Christmas, Mario's classic hits or something. And so, yeah, that was just my background. And then I didn't do it for so many years. And then when I went back to do it, like the ones that I could do straight off the bat were Dumphy because of après match. You know, baby, it's great, you know, that kind of thing. I could do Joe's I'm the special one, fantastic. I could do, and then, you know, I could always do Beck's or whatever, you know, and I always like cock the eyebrow. I'm like, you know, right.
It's kind of like people's eyebrow as well.
Yeah. But so that was it, the video, and then what happened was the boys gave me about a week to come back with stuff. Yeah. And I came back and they were like, nah. They were like, we don't have a job for you, sorry. And I was like devastated because I was like, oh, this is a dream, like, you know, to get out of work and do that. But what I realized in that week, and you'd probably agree with this, is that there's nothing natural about like being an impersonator. It's like, oh, I can take off some voice. If someone asked me in a pub to take off a fella next to me, like, it'd be absolutely shockingly bad.
It's ridiculous, but and I'm sure you've a mate of yours or an acquaintance has said it to you in a bar, and they tip you and they bring you over to another fella at the bar and say, look at this fella here, he can do any voice in the world. Go on, do any voice in the world, and you're just like, what the fuck? No, we have a repertoire for a reason. I mean, if we could do that, Jesus, we'd be laughing,
Yeah, and what I realized that week then was, I was like they didn't get a whole lot better, but they got a bit better.
Yeah.
Someone, like, I was trying clap and stuff, and I was like, if you sit and work at this, like, maybe, or if you sit and work at this, you can definitely get better at it. Quit my job then. A couple of days later, I was like, right, that's it. Quitting the job. I'm going to give this 6 months and see.
Brilliant.
Can I make some money doing it? Within a couple of weeks, then I got 1 or 2 little videos. I was getting 300 bob, and like thinking I was nearly rich, and I was like, that was it. It just kicked off from there. I realized pretty soon that you can just get better at them. And then once I realized that, I was like, right, I'm just going to do this.
Yeah. It's what people don't know. They don't know that, like, impressions are they're a developed art form in a sense. You're constantly developing the voice. You're constantly working on it. You're constantly finding that cadence, that that inflection in the voice.
And it evolves as well. Like, I've noticed, like,
it's boredom. You're watching videos. It is, and you're repeating.
And sometimes fellas talk in different ways. Like, when you do a McGregor, you can do different McGregors. You can be like, that's it, you know what I'm saying? It's beautiful stuff. Or you can have that, very good show, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's different, like, levels to it. I see sometimes you do. You can have that, like, you know what I mean? And then you can bring it down. So,
well, there's the dope McGregor, and then there's kind of the, as you said, how you show, well done, sir. That kind of McGregor, what's up? Thank you very much, sir. And it's a sore. It's not sir, it's sore.
yeah. But so that was it. Yeah, and then it just all spiraled. Everything happened really fast. Then for a few years. But I was always constantly, like, working. I got the job with Joe. Then 4 months later, the boys rang me up, whatever, and they were like, "Here, come in and make some videos." And it took a while for us to get going there as well, because you were trying to find out what people were after, what people liked.
Of course, yeah.
And then I suppose Loughnane, doing the GA, when I started doing Loughnane and Brolly and Davy.
Those three were kind of the iconic ones for you and Joe.
Then I had something every week to give out to the Joe audience that I knew, like, they enjoyed. So it just made life a lot easier in Joe.
But I think when you found your rhythm in Joe was when you were doing the three boys, Davy, Loughnane, and Brolly. And you were kind of giving the Irish audience what they wanted every week. And then you were also doing the Premier League content for the UK guys for Joe. So you were there was 2 separate pieces of content that were going out each week. And that's when you found your rhythm in there.
Yeah, I was doing the 2 videos, and then I was doing Klopp or whatever.
Yeah.
I wanted to do Klopp and Pep. Because I knew, because Klopp when he came into the Premier League, it was all, for sure we're playing. It's really wonderful. He was all like, and everyone was just laughing at him. And he was putting out these faces, then,
of course,
all this kind of shit. And then Pep was kind of getting a bit pissed off, and he was, what did he do? Yeah, very happy. And he had all these little picks. So I was doing a couple of them boys, and that kind of took off for me. And then Jose did take off for me in the UK, because Jose, I think, is probably my strongest one in the
Jose and Klopp would be your 2.
Yeah.
And the top
even though Klopp's hard to do sometimes, like he's I find in the morning, I think it was like you were talking about the Scottie Pippen one, in the morning he's easier to do because you have a more coarse voice. Later at night, kind of when your voice is really soft, you're after eating stuff all day. I found that as well with, like, eating and stuff. There was sometimes at gigs, like, I'd do a really good McConaughey. I'd sit there like, well, you see, first key to success.
Yeah.
Doing this. And then other days it was like, well, you see, the first, a bit more, it wasn't as good. And I was like, how is it good sometimes and not good other times? And I realized then sometimes when you eat stuff before gigs, I can't eat now before a gig because my voice, whatever happens, it's like, it softens up your throat because stuff is going down. I don't know what it is, but I only realized that in the last couple of months. I was like, trying to document what I was doing.
It's just water for me. Hello? Oh, hello. Hello. Oh, no. Yeah. And so, like, it kind of went off with Joe in Ireland, the Brolly, the Loughnane, and the Davy Fitz. That was the big thing. But then, kind of what propelled you even further was doing all of the Premier League content and putting the managers into like situations where you'd never seen them before. For example, like the Narcos video with all the managers.
Joe said selling drugs. He's his business in Phil. I don't know. The FBI is against me. The police is against me. I don't know. And then what was the part about that I liked was at the time Liverpool's defense was shit. Like Lovren and Moreno were criticized left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And then I was saying, I was like, club. What about the drugs? He's like, some of the supply fell out of the back of the truck. Blah blah. Who's defending the truck or whatever? But yeah, that was the cool thing. I kind of made, even obviously more so in America, doing a lot of golf and stuff like that. I miss doing the soccer and the GA. I did a thing for the Sunday game there 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I seen it. It was fantastic.
That was, for me, that was like, I got such a buzz off doing that. Like I went for a walk after and everything. And it's been a while since I got such a buzz off. Yeah. You probably know yourself when you started doing this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and you got a viral video, it was like, it's amazing. And now like you mightn't get the same kick off it in a sense.
Yeah.
But I suppose you probably got a kick there a couple of weeks ago with the whole McGregor thing and Dana White. Like that was amazing. Well, I kind of got that from doing the Sunday game bit there on Sunday, where it was a while since I'd like got a real buzz off doing a video. Because
it was kind of back to your roots. It was back to how it all kind of started for you with the GAA
and also
stuff.
It's the game that, of all the games I'm in, like I'm just like you, like just a sports fan. Yeah. So like that's why I'm in, like I do soccer, I do the Gaelic football, and I do the golf. But the Gaelic football definitely is just how I grew up, like playing football and stuff with the lads, and all my mates are like GA lads, you know. So it's like definitely is the one I get the biggest kick off, and then I get the most messages from the lads. Like I could do a big golf video, go viral, and the boys might even see it, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like the GA one, everyone kind of sees it, like. Yeah.
The beauty of that is that you can come back and you can do those kind of pieces for the Sunday game, and then you can go right back to doing these viral golf videos that just flow up in the US.
Yeah, and I probably didn't intend on doing any GA this summer, especially with coming to America and just how busy things are. But because we're in quarantine, they came to me and they were like, do you want to do some videos? And I was like, you know what? Yeah. I was like, it keeps me busy. Like, and I could probably I probably need to add a couple of characters to the GA stuff, because I still have the same guys I had 2 or 3 years ago. And you know yourself, you always need to freshen it up a little, and I probably haven't freshened it up. I've been doing the same stuff.
But there's a lot. You still do a lot. The repertoire is huge in the GAA.
Your repertoire. My repertoire. It's. I know it's obviously a lot smaller than.
It's the Jim Gavin I love. I think the fake.
Was a sight. It's beautiful. It's the eyes.
It's the eyes and the eyebrows.
It's like he's like, you know that the snake in the Jungle Book that's trying to hypnotize.
He is.
I always that's where I get my gym thing. It's like, it's great. I love doing gym. Although one of my favorite ones now is Burno.
The Burno Bro.
I just make into like this really super positive, like it's great crack.
Yeah.
Delighted, there's loads of money and stuff. But it's like that. Even like obviously I've got to know some of these lads, and it's great like when they take it well or whatever. Like it's not really them. Like often you'll hear like, it was like I had Poulter on the show this week actually on the Conor Moore show, and I was like, what was your first impression like when you seen me do you?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not like that, and that doesn't sound like me.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's everyone's impression. Like everyone says that when they first like see it or whatever. But he goes, but I was also thinking maybe it does, because he's now Tiger, he's now Tommy Fleetwood, he's now Rory McIlroy, and all the comments are about me. And it's like, but as I was saying to him, it's like, it's not really even him. Listen, sometimes you can do an impression and you can do it perfect nearly, or you can do it near perfect. but it mightn't be necessarily funnier than if you like blow it up. It's like even like last week I did Tomas Mulcahy in the GA thing. And Tomas, like, you know, certainly it's a really good day out there today. And he kind of talks like that. But like when I'm doing it, it's like, certainly right, there's not a day out there. Or even Gerlich Nan is like, you know, it was a great game out there today. And, you know, beautiful stuff. There was a lot of wild swinging.
You've crunched the neck.
Yeah, but when I'm doing it, it's like, oh, absolutely. That's the way you have to play the game. Beautiful stuff.
That was one of our first videos together. I think we did, you did Loch Nan and I did Van Gaal.
Was it down at the bridge, down by Connolly Station? We just walked into each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it, yeah. But I know
you did Brawley as well.
I sent you the one. I was looking back that Keane and McGregor one from Mayweather fight. Yeah. I would laugh my ass off at that the other day, and I was like,
it's hilarious.
It's amazing when you do these things. I remember one night after about a year, I often don't watch my own stuff back, sort of. Some of it you watch back, some of it you don't after it goes out. And then if I do, you see, because the reason I don't is because I'm always looking at a critique and I go, that could have been better. That didn't sound as good there. That, you know, why did I say that instead of that? So it's kind of like I just do it and I kind of move on from it.
How many takes do you do?
If I'm doing an impersonation, it all depends. If it's kind of Loch Nan, I wouldn't even care about how it sounds because I know I don't have to. But if it's somebody else,
if it's a new one,
weird. Like I did a Ricky Gervais one. Like obviously I do all sports. Did a Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, that's a brilliant impression, by the way.
Well, do you know what? It's mad. It is and then it isn't, and it all depends on who. So some people are like, "Holy shit, that was like incredible." It's like, yeah, hello, right, amazing. And, but then other people, especially people maybe from the area, are like, "He's not Irish." Where they hear that Irishness still in your voice, you can hear. It's like I remember doing Gary Neville one day, and a load of lads from Ireland were like, "That is superb stuff."
Yeah.
And then I had all these lads from Manchester, absolute wank. They were like,
That's the same with me when I do the GNF. You do it in Ireland, oh, brilliant. And then I've done it in Manchester. I did it in front of him in Manchester, in hotel football. And I was just mortified. Fucking hell. And then I quickly moved on to Rio, and that kind of saved me a little bit.
Did it?
Yeah.
Did he take it well when you were doing them?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, I think so.
I always enjoy when I'm up there with someone because I always find like the crowd love that. The crowd,
they love it.
Yeah, they get a buzz off that. So you're kind of like, it's like the best performance I ever did was one with Gerlich Nan, and everyone was like, "Must have been awful nervous." I was like, "No, it wasn't." I was walking up there going, "This is going to be amazing. There's no way this can fail." Because people love the character when he's not there. Now they're going to get to see me do it right beside him. So I walked up, and I was the most unnervous I ever was for a gig.
That's one of the best. That's one of the best live sketches I've ever seen with the Loch Nan, and just sitting right beside him. It was just like, and you'd only been doing this about a year, 2 years at that point. You looked like you'd been doing it about 25 years when you got up on stage. It just was like so natural to you.
You know something, and that, I suppose that it just goes back to what I just said there. A few people said to me, "That's your best performance I've seen you get up there and do." And I was like, it was because I was so sure. It was weird. I remember it was on a Thursday, and I wrote the script on a Tuesday. It all came together pretty quick, the script. I was just sitting there, and it just kind of came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is funny." I said it to one of my mates, and he was laughing his ass off, and I was like, "Oh, brilliant." I was like, "This is I'm Brendan." And I was like, "This is brilliant." And so I ended up going down, and I was just so sure. But that's the thing. Nerves are good, obviously. Nerves are great. I find sometimes like gigs where I mightn't have been nervous and they haven't gone as well, where I'm too relaxed. One of my mates reckons like the more kind of uptight I am, the nearly better the performance is. But in that case there, just because Jer was there, I wasn't nervous. I was just so excited. I knew I was like, and I had the script. I was like, this should go well. So I went up there, and it just was. And obviously, Wooly did a great job as well, asking the questions. And Jer was brilliant. And he just sit there.
Great.
He came up to me at the start. He's like, "You're making a right cunt of me." So you know that. Bleep that out. And I was like, "Oh, I hope you don't mind." He goes, "Man," he says, I hope you make millions."
Brilliant. But like that, nerves are rocket fuel. They really are.
if you're not going to get nervous, I suppose, then you're not really getting the same buzz off it, because it's like it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. If I'm mad nervous going up on stage and I have a great gig, I'm up here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm buzzing, you know.
How are you hours before like big gigs? Are you? Because I'm unbearable. Like
I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad. I'm pretty nervous just before it, about maybe an hour and a half or so before it. I get like pretty like nervous, and I'm like, all right, you know, you're getting the butterflies.
I don't even eat. Like I barely eat.
Yeah, well, I used to eat. I'd have coffee. I would just chill out and just relax or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I go on stage, and then I realized it wasn't good for the old voice box. So now, I stay away about 4 or 5 hours before I'll stop eating or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But that's a great buzz. Like, you know, like I say, you were the same. You were working in retail. I was working down in sales. What you're doing now, you just have to be so like, you have to pinch yourself. Like, it's
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That's what I'm gonna get to now. The iconic Masters video from 2018. I remember you put this up on Twitter, and it just went crazy from then on. And I look at it, it was kind of a 6-month span of your life just being turned upside down, and you were just on a pure roller coaster of just joy and fucking like that pinching yourself. Obviously we start off with the Masters video. Like nobody was impersonating any golfers at this point. So you found like a hole in that market, and you just like it came out of nowhere, and you were perfect with all these impressions. Sergio, Tiger, Pulse, McIlroy. Was Phil in that video?
No, he came
in the Open, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was in the Open video where I still kind of struggle doing him. But the Masters video, it was again kind of that thing, I suppose, when I started doing the impersonations, I nearly stayed away from what other people were doing. I was like, right, where can I do it where I just have like an open field? It's like, even like I always said, like with Mario and Oliver and them, they were doing a lot of politicians. So I didn't really do the politicians. And then even McGregor, I didn't want to touch McGregor for ages, because I was like, there's no point. I was like, because you were doing it so unbelievably well, and you were and your fame was after skyrocketing and everything. And I was like, so I was just focusing on GA kind of guys that weren't been done. And I actually, when I started doing it, then I seen Tierney Talks, like, and he's, I have to say,
Aidan's fantastic.
And so then with the soccer, then again, I just went with Klopp and Pep and a few of them lads that weren't been done. And that kind of got me the job in Joe. So then the golf came around, and I was like, I actually thought of doing the golf at the Ryder Cup in 2016. But I was in New York at the time, and I was just messing around. I was pretending I was working hard, but I wasn't really. So I just didn't have it prepared. And then my dad became the captain of our golf club in Mullingar, the men's captain. And I was like, you know what? There could be something here doing golf stuff. Yeah. And I put the video out on the Monday. I was planning that video for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And the big one, I suppose, was getting Tiger, because I couldn't get Tiger for ages. Like, I was training for ages and ages and ages.
I heard about this. It took you weeks to, like, you locked yourself in a room just watching Tiger Woods for weeks.
So much so, 5 days before the video, he wasn't in it. Like, I decided I'm not putting him in. And I then just said, right, next 4 days, I'm just going to do Tiger. My brother was saying, he's like, you guys, if you get Tiger, Americans will love it. Like, and so I just stayed in the room for 4 days. And I realized then, I'm like, geez, if you sit there long enough, now there's some people you definitely can't do, but like, if you stay there long enough, that's some people, it always gets better and better and better. You never know, maybe you can do them, you know? And I got him. And the video then, it's funny, Rory gave me a dig out with that video too, in a sense, where I actually sent Tiger to Rory about 5 or 6 days before it. And Rory listened to it. He was like, yeah. It's good. He was like, right.
You know what that means?
Yeah. It's good, he said. And then he goes, you should do Bubba Watson. I was like, I don't have time to do Bubba Watson, you know. He goes, well, all he does is cry, so just have him crying, you know. It was kind of the genius of Rory too, when he thinks of these things. So I did Bubba, did Tiger. A lot of comments, most comments were Bubba and Tiger, and everyone's like, "Oh, Bubba's the impression you nailed," because I was crying. But I remember after Rory sent me a voice note or whatever, and he was like, "Jesus, yeah, maybe it was true the voice thing that it just sounded different. The Tiger thing when I just didn't think it was that good a week ago, but it actually is. It's very good now." I was like, you know what? I just literally sat there for 4 days, man. I just done them, and I was like, it just got so much better in those 4 days.
I'd say that buzz when you finished the Tiger impression and you slotted him into the video was like, oh fuck yes, you were probably thinking.
Oh, you were, yeah. And do you know what? It's weird. With some impressions, I don't know, does this happen to you? Do you ever think you can't get somebody, then you're doing somebody else, and then you realize, hold on a second, I couldn't get Justin Rose, and I gave up.
Yeah.
I can't do Rosie.
No
but then
way.
I was doing Roy Hodgson in the room one day doing a video for, I don't know what I was doing it for, but anyway, I was like, well, you know, it was a very, very good game.
Yes.
Today we played very well and very exciting and well, Roger Rabbit. I was doing all this hours, and my brother walked by and he goes, "Was that Justin Rose? Was it?" I was nearly insulted. I was like, Roy Hodgson, man. And he was like, "Oh, it sounded like Justin Rose," and I was like, "Oh, go on, get out." And all of a sudden, then I'm like, "Wait a minute." I was like, and then I started doing Rose. He was like, "No, guys, and it's great and delighted." And a lot of people, even Tiger said to me when I did the ad with him, he was like, "Rosie's the best one, most accurate one you have."
Yeah. It's the ebbs and flows.
The ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys. It's great.
But like, that was just crazy, and it got everywhere. It went obviously on NBC. Your home now. ESPN covered it. Just every sports network in America was covering it. Ireland and the UK. The timing was perfect when you released it. And then a couple of months later, we get to the Open, and you've just signed with NBC, which is just absolutely huge. And you put out a video for the Open, and that also does well. I mean, it was just incredible. Yeah. You were at the Open as well, weren't you?
Yeah.
Carnoustie
in Scotland. So I was over there, and I remember putting that one out. I was really nervous because I was like, maybe like it's going to be one of those things like, oh, this was funny the first time, but you know, that type of stuff. And sure, that video then actually done bigger numbers.
And the Masters,
yeah. So I knew then I was kind of like, I was like, right, definitely onto something here with the golf, and it's just been great. And the golf is a great game to be involved in. Like, and not only that, like it's the only game in the world where, you know, you can't watch Man United play and say, "Oh, I can't wait to play in Old Trafford there and score a goal into the."
Yeah.
You know, but you can watch. I can watch the Open and look at St Andrews and say, "I can't wait to play St Andrews one day and hit into the 18th." Do you know, like, what other game can you do that? And then also, like as you were saying, people have high handicaps, low handicaps. Like I can go out and play. I can go and play with a guy who plays off 1 or 2, and I have shots, and I can beat him.
Yeah.
You know, and as in obviously with the handicap and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just think it's such a brilliant game like
it's
that.
The beauty of golf, yeah.
I see you played in Old Trafford though, didn't you? One day I played in the Cop as well. Like I'm a Liverpool fan, but about 2 years ago on a charity thing.
I did, yeah. 3 years ago.
Oh man, like a carpet, like, isn't it? It's just.
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, I remember coming onto the pitch and just thinking, fucking hell, you know, Ronaldo's played on this pitch. George Best, Cantona. I'm on this pitch. Little old me. You know,
I know, yeah. Isn't it crazy to think that?
Yeah.
Like in the dressing room, we in the dressing rooms.
I was in the dressing room. We were in you know the home and away dressing rooms. I got my jersey 4 and number 9 on the back. You know, it was just surreal, crazy, like. But yeah, obviously this was a 6-month span. We're back to the golf, and then later on in the year, I think was it November, December. You shoot an advertisement with the GOAT of golf. Well, I don't know. Jack Nicklaus might have something to say about that. But one of the
very careful. I always say arguably the greatest golfer of all time.
Arguably the greatest golfer of all time, like Tiger Woods. Like that is, like it's unbelievable. From just deciding at the start of the year, maybe I'll do this video for the Masters. I'll learn a couple of golfers, and then you're at the Open in Carnoustie. You sign with NBC, and then a couple of months later, you're doing an advertisement for Bridgestone with Tiger Woods. Like how?
I know. When I first came in, I'll never forget it. Like that day, I was walking through Mullingar and I was walking up the Dublin Road, and I got this message into my Twitter inbox from Bridgestone. saying, "Oh, we want to talk to you about a potential opportunity or whatever." And I was like, "Oh yeah, deadly." And I just assumed I was going to get like, I don't know, do something with them. You get paid, get some golf balls then for the year.
Yeah.
Unlimited amount. And I was like, this is brilliant stuff. And then got word that it was like a thing with Tiger Woods. And I was like, I was like, what? And then I was thinking, no, this is definitely not going to happen. And I asked them even, I was like, does Tiger know about this? Like this idea you have? They're like, no, we're approaching him now in the next day or so. We'll know by Friday. And it was like a Tuesday. We'll know by Friday. And it was really early on a Tuesday. By the end of the day, then they just got back and said, yeah, Tiger's on for it. Got word or whatever, like, and it all just happened like that in a couple of weeks. Within a couple of weeks, then I was down in Atlanta and I was shooting it with him, like, and he was such a legend, like he was an absolute legend to be around. He was so cool, like, and I brought my cousin and my brother with me as well, and they loved him. He was just so sound to everyone, you know. He really was a great fella. It was weird. And it was like when I walked in and he was like, "Oh, you know, do me." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Do me." Just standing there. And I'm like, "Well, the conditions are really tough out there. They're really tough. You know, I really did." And he's like, "Fuck, dude, you sound just like me, man." That relaxed me. Now, remember I said about Gerlach Nan doing that? I was definitely nervous doing the Tiger ad.
Yeah.
You know, it's not an audience there. It's a production team.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of people standing there and it's like, all right, and even knowing your lines and stuff. He was actually such a pro. Like he just rocked in, you know, there's a board there. What's my lines? Boom. Okay. Boom, boom. I was like, you know, what are my lines? Come on. You've been reading these lines for 6 weeks. Like,
but like it just, and obviously the advertisement was, you know, all over the television screens in America, you know, during the ad breaks. Like that is just unbelievable.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, and it did. Like I say, like I owe an awful lot to golf. Like it's been very, very good to me.
But they've been very receptive of you. They've just, it's kind of like, you know, we've been missing a bit of fun for a couple of years in golf. We need something different. And it was like a breath of fresh air for the golfing world.
Like I remember one or two people actually questioned me doing the video. They were like, "Why do you want to do a golf video?" Like. And they were nearly insinuating that golf people didn't know how to have the crack. And I was like down in like Mullingar Golf Club. And it was from being down there. I was down there one or two nights and I was drinking and stuff. And
have they ever heard of Shane Lowry? He's fucking great crack.
Yeah. You know, and I was like, when I was down there, I realized like they are, and if anything, the best social lives are in golf clubs. Like, you know, like I'd look at my GA club, and in terms of socializing, we socialize at the games.
Yeah.
You meet matches, you meet Saturday morning down at the club, you know what I mean? There's not much of, especially the way, like, I suppose, especially when you're playing football, you don't be drinking as much anyway. So, but with the golf club, like, you play your golf, you come into the clubhouse after it, a few pints or whatever, bit of food, everyone's in chatting, having a crack that night, presentations, things like that. So I just kind of felt like, definitely, like, I could see myself. Now, at the time, how big I was thinking was, I could be going up and down all over Ireland doing golf club gigs, you know, getting a nice few quid like into my pocket and going home. Did I think? Now I knew it might go, like I was hoping it was going to go viral. I was excited like for that, but like I didn't really think I was going to be in Orlando a couple of weeks later signing up on NBC. That was
incredible.
That was like a big shock sort of.
But I think as well, it was kind of like, that's what they needed. You know, the golfing world needed a bit of that. You know, there's so many impressionists in soccer, including myself, yourself as well. You know, there's Darren, there's a lot of us. There's Frank Caliendo's with the NFL, Ari Spears, Jay Farrow kind of do the NBA impressions. You know, so with golf, they didn't have anybody. They didn't have that staple impressionist. And it was like, yes, we got our guy in a sense. You know?
Yeah, when it all happened, it's mad. It's like, I had Frank Caliendo on the show, their episode 3. And I was just talking, it's amazing, like talking to you about the process and everything else. He was saying the exact same things, like, you know, and it takes a lot of work to get people. But I remember when I first did the golf video, everyone was like, oh, here's the Frank Caliendo of golf. And I didn't know I was like, who's Frank Caliendo? And then I was like, wow, this guy's, because I wouldn't have watched, I would have just known like Mario and a few of those, you know, back in Ireland. But I always find it weird how Ireland have, like, for such a small place, so many impersonators. I tell you what, I really, really like. I always really like Farley.
Darren Farley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's so funny.
Yeah. Darren's great. Yeah.
Even anytime he just does Brendan Rodgers.
Well, I think it's the Gerard when he does the Gerard.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but he's amped that up a little bit, Darren. Now he's kind of.
Oh yeah. But it's amazing when, like, I remember doing my first soccer video, and I was trying to do Gerard. I was trying to do of course.
Yeah.
When I did my first ever soccer video, when I was just starting out doing this, and I look back on that and I realized, like, I was literally robbing his gag. Do you know what I mean? That's his impersonation kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
but you have your guys even with the Sergio laugh as well.
So that's the thing, Peter. I remember a guy sent me a video. He was doing a bunch of golf impressions, and he was like, when he was doing the Sergio thing, and he was just asking me for advice. I was giving him advice, and I was saying to him, you definitely have to find because people will only, like, criticize you and put you down and go, oh, you're just doing Conor Moore there, you're not doing Sergio. And it's like even with the GA stuff that I was doing, when you find your own stuff, it's like McGregor, like, you know, like, that's kind of what you've that nailed down. Back in Ireland, especially, even with the Hollywood guys too, it's just your baby, like, you know what I mean? I like, sometimes I sat there one day trying to look at Pesci one day, because I wanted to see, could I do that? I can't reach that range. And I was like, I don't know. How long did that take you?
I actually learned Joe Pesci from my brother, my older brother. He used to impersonate Pesci and De Niro. He actually looks a bit like De Niro, if you've ever seen him. I'd always
do De Niro face. You're the image of De Niro there.
Yeah, but see, that's good too. But you know, it's very uncomfortable. Not many people know that it's very uncomfortable. You know, but it's those impressions, those like you said with the three boys, the Loughnane, Brolly, and Davey. Mine would be Pesci, Pacino, and De Niro. You know, they're my three. They're kind of the go-tos in a sense as well. Yeah. But I love doing some weird ones. Like, I love doing, like, Woody Harrelson was one that I've been doing for a while, and I don't know, I just get enjoyment out of it. You know, it's just like that. Sounds like he's just had 2 or 3 joints out the back. That's it, really. But it's just, yeah. That's our job, man. It's fucking mental, you know.
I know, yeah, and you're probably like me. People probably ask you what the process is, and it's like, man, I don't know. Maybe you have a different way. It's just watching the same video over and over again.
Yeah, it is.
Just watch
it's finding the clearest interview as well. You know, the proper 108 OP interview could be 20 minutes long. You know.
Yeah, and then it that's what Frank said to me as well. Caliendo was saying it's muscle memory. And I was like, yeah, because I find if I can't hear it clearly in my head, I can't do it. I have to listen to it over and over. So it's just like, because someone said to me one day about Beckham, and I did Beckham. I was like, yeah, you know, I'm out in Victoria, and I did it. One of the lads was like, how do you even remember that? What he sounds like? I'm like, it's just buried in my head, like what he sounds like. Well, to me, what
stored there.
Yeah, and it's like from just listening to hours and hours of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, think of it this way. This is the only way to best describe it. You put a USB into your laptop and you're exporting files in. That's kind of what it is, you know. And those files permanently, hopefully for us, permanently kind of stay there. You know, it's.
They will, and the thing about it is that, like, nearly I won't say it excites me, but you can only get better at it.
Yeah. I know.
So, like, the older you get, like, I'm 31, I'm like, I wonder what I'd be like when I'm 50 and what repertoire.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it could be just huge and massive. And also, like, they just get better with practice. Like, there's no, it's not a mistake that, like, Joe Loughnane, you know, and, you know, Joe Brolly and these guys. For me, are my best impressions. Or Jose Mourinho. I think it's fantastic.
And you and Brolly have a great friendship.
Yeah, he's a brilliant fella. But I was saying, but I've listened to him so much, and I've done him so much in Ger, and there's no it's not a coincidence that they're the best ones, the ones you're always doing all the time. But on that with Brolly, like I love that. I love when the person you're doing kind of just enjoys it too. It's that for me then makes
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it just makes it's all feel good then. It's like I'd hate to think somebody hated my impersonation. And some people are like that, they're not really into it. I'm sure I'd find it weird. A fella wrote up, I did an interview one day, and some lad wrote up something like, if I was impersonating Conor Moore, I'd say like all the time, and I'd say, oh, there was something else. Sure. I don't know what it was, but 2 sentences, I watched it back and I went, oh my God, I said that about 35 times. You know what I mean? And I was like, holy shit. Yeah. I was like, it was weird. I was like, so that's what I'm like. And I'm like, geez, I wonder what I'd be like now when some fellas start taking me off.
Local barber I go to, actually, and I'll give him a shout out. Andy Cooper is his name. And I remember Andy does a few impressions, and he's always kind of coming up to me and he's going, what do you think of that? And we're out, we're just having the crack in the barber shop. And he impersonates all the other lads in the shop. And I come in one day and he starts taking off me, I went to Paris with Alison, it was great and all that. And he's rinsing me. And he won't stop for the whole fucking time I'm in there. But it was brilliant, like, and it was refreshing. I was like, Jesus, about time. Oh. So just a couple of weeks ago, NBC announced that you are doing a weekly show on Golf Pass, the Conor Moore Show. Now, we're at this point, we're 3 or 4 episodes in, I believe.
We're on episode 5.
Episode 5.
Yeah, episode 5. It's been a weird start. Yeah, they came to me last year about this. I actually initially thought it was kind of like pie in the sky. And I was like, so they're on about this show. I was thinking about, I didn't know whether like it was, you also like, it's great to have a show, but you want to make sure it's the right thing for you.
Of course,
different things. And to be fair, they were just brilliant, because I was saying like, well, if you're doing a show, you need a live audience, like, nobody can be a bit weird. So they were like, all right, perfect. Yeah, we'll sort something out. And then when I got over here, I still didn't know what to expect. Walked in to have a big studio on the wall, the Conor Moore Show, like really fantastic stuff. Like,
wow.
We were going to have an audience and everything. And then of course, COVID-19 came and hit. And I genuinely thought I was going home, like to the extent where the apartment, I didn't want to do anything with the apartment. I didn't want to like deck it out. I didn't want to do anything for weeks because I expected I was going home. And then they were like, listen, we've no like original content right now because there's no golf happening. Do you think you can make up a show or whatever? And then also the lockdown came, so nobody could come into the apartment. So they were like, not only like, can you make the show, but can you actually physically make the show? Thankfully, I was after doing some of the stuff on the green screen and stuff like that. And I worked with Gary, Carl, and Joe. Yes. Because I was working with Gary every week, I just by being there, you could see what he was doing and what way he sets lights up and the green screen recording and what he's looking for in the shots. So I just said, right, grand. Yeah. So we've been shooting it. It's been sort of a weird experience because we had these plans. Obviously, there's going to be an audience. It is different. It's like you're doing it from the apartment, but it's great. It's been great for me. It kept really busy. Very fortunate, like, to be in this position because so many people have. A lot of people are like, oh, doing it with them, with no content or whatever. Like, and it's like I'm getting to do it.
But it's still very good with the limited resources you have and having no crowd and filming it in your apartment. Like, it's still coming across so professional and so well. Like, you're getting the guests on, like you've had Poulter on and Frank.
First time I've had writers and stuff, and definitely with the monologue and stuff. Definitely need a dig out. You need a team like to come up with all that stuff and to get you thinking as well, like, But I've really enjoyed it, I have to say. But the best part of the show for me is the interviews. This week I have an interview with Poulter. And it's just gas. Like, not, don't be taking the piss out of me, mate. But he, like, a bit like Brolly back home, like, he's been brilliant. Like, he's like been so cool to me. Gig with him in his house a couple of months ago for his charity and stuff. And you couldn't meet like a fella like a better crack. Like, he just is mad Arsenal fan. You know, he's one of the lads, like, he really is great crack. But yeah, no, so far I have to say the show's been really enjoyable.
Yeah.
We've a couple of weeks to go yet of it.
Mm.
And then hopefully we'll continue on and finish out the season with it.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot just to take into account in the next couple of weeks.
Of course, yeah.
Everybody's looking at everything, so we'll take stock in a couple of weeks and see what's happening.
But also, just another thing I forgot to mention as well with Poulter, the message to the Ryder Cup team in 2018. Like, that was just the video of that. Oh,
that was great. That was great because, to be fair, Thomas Bjorn, like, it was all him in a sense, because it was his idea, and he made it out that team were about to see a very inspirational video. So Sergio and them were like, yeah, we were sitting there waiting to see a really inspirational video, and then I'd never done Francesco Molinari, in a pan-faced. He doesn't get too excited about anything. Yeah. So I debuted. He was the first guy to come on. Debuted Fran, and all the players are sitting there like, all right. And he's like, right, watch this. And he presses play, and they're all just like. And then this guy comes on. He goes, well, welcome to this thing, and he's talking about it. And he says, Francesco, you know, how are you feeling coming into the Ryder Cup? And then it cuts to me, and I'm like down here. I'm like, well, it's really great. It's wonderful, blah, blah. And they all just start breaking their shit laugh. And it was like 10 minutes long. And no one's actually ever seen, outside that room, no one's ever seen the full video. Like, I don't think anyone ever, which I kind of like. I like the fact that it's just, there's a documentary, and some of it's in the documentary. I have it on my YouTube, actually. There's like a 2.5 minute piece. But yeah, it was cool. It was great to be involved that week. Do you know what? It's amazing. The Last Dance is on right now, right?
Oh, it's amazing.
The Ryder Cup team, the USA Ryder Cup team brought in Michael Jordan to do something for them.
Oh, wow.
But his impressions were shit.
His impressions were shite. Conor Moore, you heard it here first, folks. Conor Moore did a better pep talk than Michael Jordan in the Ryder Cup in 2018.
But Jordan went in anyway. Jordan did obviously he was going to talk. I think he'd just be a part of a lot of Ryder Cup teams. He's huge into golf.
Massively,
but, NBC have a tent at the Ryder Cup, and I was going down there. It was like it was early in the morning. I had a thing with Sky Sports to do. And I walked in, I had breakfast, and there was like nobody in this place, just me and one other guy. And we were sitting there, I was eating the breakfast, and there was a guy there on the couch, and I was sitting there, and I was watching the television. And I went to leave then to go down to the Sky Sports facility down there, that little thing they have on the range. And this lady said, did you get to talk to Michael? And I was like, huh? She's like, were you talking to Michael? I was like, who's Michael? Michael Jordan. I was like, no, I wasn't. I was like, why is he here? She goes, well, that's him. You were sitting beside him for the last 15, 20 minutes. Two of us were sitting there watching the television. I never even looked over. It was him, Michael Jordan.
Two of you casually having breakfast.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not going back. I'm not annoying him. He was sitting there eating his breakfast or whatever. I just kept going.
Yeah.
But I'm watching the documentary. I'm like, damn, I should have just went over and like introduced myself or whatever. I was like,
wow. That's an incredible documentary, by the way. I just finished it today.
I know. Yeah, I'm half thinking of doing something, a video on Last Dance with Claire, making it look
No, Jordan, Jackson, and Pippen all in one.
Yeah, that's what he's like. But,
he's well in the videos. He comes across more like Rodman, doesn't he?
Oh, jerk!
Man.
Yeah, he's definitely more. Well, that's how I've written this. He's actually, I swear to God, you said that. That's how I've written it. I've actually I've started penning it down.
Yeah,
and it's actually like that. It's like he's in Vegas sometimes. He's baiting the lads at training. Like he's like he's got the fastest of them all or whatever. Like
yeah, brilliant. Also as well, like you have a good friendship now with Jack Nicklaus. You've done a lot of his dinners, his charity dinners. You've performed at him and his wife are big admirers of your talent. Like, that's just incredible.
Aye, that's very.
And you brought your dad over, didn't you, to your mom and dad?
Yeah, my dad, to be fair, my dad owes me a lot now at this stage. I know he gave me life and everything else, but like he was in Shane Lowry's house 2 days after Lowry won the Open, getting pictures and the whole lot. He's a golf nut, like.
Yeah.
But his hero, like, in his, the guy he looked up to kind of, I think, growing up and stuff like that was Jack Nicklaus. So like, I told Jack last year when I met him that my dad was a massive fan of his.
Yeah.
And I was being honest with him. I was like, you know, when in my house we were all about tiger, because like just that's the era you grow up, and it's like being a kid, it's all about Messi, and your dad would say no Maradona. But I said anyway to Jack, I was like, my dad would come in, he'd be like, Jack Nicklaus is the greatest. We'd be always arguing with him and stuff, and he's always telling us that you were the greatest. And Jack says, well, your father's a really smart man, you know. And what's his name? I was like, oh, Tom. A couple of days later, then his manager contacts me and he says, what's your address? And I was like, I give it to him anyway. And then about a week later, picture comes in the post. Jack Nicklaus has it signed to Tom. Thanks for all your support, Jack Nicklaus. Pictures of me and Jack from that party.
Oh,
and then this year asked me to do a charity gig or whatever in Florida here, and for the Jake Foundation. And I did, and I said, "Can I bring my dad along?" And they were like, "Oh, sure, yeah. We'll set a place from there down the back. You can sit with the manager and or one of the lads or something like that." He said, and it was Scott Talley, who is the manager. He was telling me this. Oh, you can sit with me, and Scott's a great fella. And then we were in the hotel just before we were going to the gig, and Scott texted me, he goes, "I'm sorry to do this to you, but I need to move your father again." And I'm like, "What? I need to move him, you know." I was like, my dad will sit outside the window looking in. He'd be absolutely delighted, like just to be there at all. And he's like, "Yeah, I know, but this is frustrating." And I'm thinking, like, where's he going to sit him? Like, is he going to go to the kitchen or what? And he's like, "Will he mind sitting with Jack and Barbara?"
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what? And then so both of us are sitting at that table and stuff, and it was like, that was class. Like, you know, that's the best part of the job. I'm sure it's the same with you, like when you meet like the likes of Rio, or you meet like Gary Neville, you meet these soccer people. That's probably the best part of the job, where you're like, you know, you get to meet these people, and it's even better when you get to bring people with you. Like Tiger had like bringing my brother and stuff, and then, you know, that there, my dad meeting Jack Nicklaus, and you know, my mom, not massively into sports, but like she's been to the Late Show and stuff like that. So that's she's got that. So that, like you say, that's I do see even your mom, she's being the videos, like she's hilarious. Brilliant. She's very, very proud, like.
She's great. Yeah, she hasn't been in them in a while now. She's always on to me saying, when am I going to be in the videos, darling? Go on, let's start another video there, Pet. You know, my madness comes from my mother, definitely.
She seems like she's plenty of energy. So remember, I was at your live gig, and she came up onto the stage and she got a rapturous applause.
Yeah, she just loves it. Like she'll pretend she doesn't like it, but she does. She gets great fun out of it.
Everyone loves it.
They all love it, you know. But no, listen, Conor, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, man. I'm so happy for you. For your continued success.
And you too, man. You know, and I tell you, throughout the last 3 years and everything, and seeing what you've done as well, and I've obviously learned a lot off you and everything.
Thank you, man.
I'm delighted for you, and honestly, thanks for having me on the show. It's been great.
No, it's a pleasure. And look, we're gonna do a video together. We got to do something together.
We definitely, when we get home, we keep talking about that Goodfellas one with the boy. We were going to do that, I remember, about a year or two ago, with the GA, combine the GA and Hollywood or something, and we have to.
Well, I think, you know, just to the viewers as well, we'll have to give that Joe video that we did a little retweet or something, because watching it back, Christ, the Keane and McGregor video, you know, it was just before the Mayweather fight, and it's Keane giving him a pep talk, Roy Keane, and it's just, I watched it back and I was in stitches. I was like, fucking hell.
Cameo Blades Outlet actually was gas.
Yeah.
I tell you, I'll kick you out, McGregor.
And a shout out to Gary Carroll as well, the genius behind that video and so many other videos with the two of us involved in Joe.
He is a genius. He really is.
He is.
So
unbelievable. Talented. Well, look, Conor, take care, pal. You're a legend, and I'll see you soon.
Definitely, Al. Definitely a few pints. Hopefully over Christmas, and there's social distancing these off or something. We can get something going.
Absolutely.
Cheers. Thanks for having me on, man. I really enjoyed that. Great chat.
Take care, bud.
See you.
Bye-bye.